build to the fourth generation. And kind of breaking that down, what that means is prepare for the future by making the correct decision today and knowing your foundation. It kind of comes back to some things that we've previously talked about, but you can't just have tunnel vision on what has worked for you in the past, because guess what? Things change, things evolve, especially in this tech world we live in now. If you're not changing, you're not adapting, you're going to get left in the dust like that.
So true. And we were kind of talking about this on a previous podcast, where when you're kind of faced with these big decision points, these forks in the roads, it really is the decision of, well, we can keep on doing what we're doing, status quo, we're going to get very regular results and maybe even start to go down, or we can take this risk that has a much bigger potential and the opportunity. And you know what happens if we don't take that bigger risk? Nothing happens, right? You never create that business that you want. You know, you never create that family that you want. You never make that impact that you want if you're not willing to take that risk. And I like what they're saying here. Work on big 7-year projects. The Bible has these stories about being prepared and doing things in increments of 7 years. And what happens, again, in the instant gratification age that we live in is we're very short-sighted. And you'll see this with businesses that are big, you know, publicly traded companies that make short-sighted decisions that make them look good to investors for the next 3 to 6 months, and 3 to 5 years end up taking them down. Maybe that's what happened with Silicon Valley Bank and some of these other bank failures, is they made short-term decisions that on the short term looked good, but if they'd had a longer-term horizon, they would have been much more successful. In the country of Japan, there are a number of businesses that have been in business hundreds of years, if you can believe that. And the reason they do is because they have this very long-term horizon. There are certain families like the Rockefellers who have been successful in many different aspects and still have extreme wealth because they have a longer-term horizon. And that's what you'll see with successful people. If you can understand and make a commitment, hey, I'm going to be in one industry for the next 15 to 20 years, and I'm going to learn everything I can about it, and you'll find solutions in different ways. We started out in business finance years ago, and I didn't know exactly, you know, how we would go, how we could become $100 million, billion-dollar company. And now we're seeing how we can do that with our fintech app, My Figures, that we're building out, and going to a big fintech event, connecting up with more fintech companies, virtual venture capital companies. And it's because you make that pivot to think bigger.
Exactly. You can't get comfortable as a business owner. You can't get stagnant. I mean, a perfect example. I'm sad to admit this, but we tried a different promo company recently to build us some signs and make us some T-shirts and hats and whatnot. And obviously we're not huge, but we send them a lot of business. And so we tried this other one out because I've got a family member that works there, and the owner of this company is kind of on the tail end of his career. He's owned the company for a really long time, and he's getting pretty close to retirement. And so they're very old fashioned. When it came time to pay for our signs and pay for our shirts and pay for our hats, I get an email saying, here's your invoice. I said, great. Can you send me a link? I want to get this paid. They said, no, I can't. We don't have the ability to do that. I said, well, what do you want me to do? And they said, well, you can fill out this authorization form. And they send me a Microsoft Word document. So I'm like, well, what do you mean? Do you want me to print it and handwrite it and then email my credit card information back over to you? Like, what's going on here? How do other people pay? Like, well, usually they just call us and give card information. I'm like, hey, well, that, you know, I sent a message to my family member, said, hey, I don't know if you know this, but it is 2023. And you have the capability of sending me a text message with a link that I can click on and pay with saved card information in my phone. Like, can I help you set that up? And she said, you know, it's something I've brought to the attention many, many times. The owner just doesn't want to change. Guess what? They lost our business. I'm not going back there until they make some changes. And it's little things like that. And call me lazy because I don't want to give someone a phone call and enter credit card information, but that's just time in my day. And we've evolved past that. It doesn't have to happen anymore. So if you're a business owner, you're watching, figure out how to get with the times, because I promise you are losing clients if you're not keeping up with the times and getting those little features that make people's lives easier implemented into your business.
Yeah, put yourself in the client's shoes. Put yourself in your strategic partner's shoes. What can you do to make their life easier? And that's why we have every way possible for someone to pay us, whether it's Amex, Discover, any credit card, Visa, MasterCard, ACH, Wire, PayPal, Venmo. We'll take any payment, any way, because we want to make it as easy as possible for our client.
And they get it in a text format. They get it in an email format, right? It's
the worst thing, wait, I'm going to have to call up. I might be on hold. Maybe it takes me 5 times to get through to you because you're on another phone call. Like, this is just very inefficient. It's like people who just call out and just think they're going to be able to get something done when you should be using calendar links. If you're using a sales process and you just want people to call in randomly, very inefficient. You should be using calendar links so that the calendar is very well organized. Everybody knows what the expectations are when the call's taking place. If you're just telling people to just call in whenever, it's going to be very ineffective.
You know what I hate, Leo? It's like I'm done with it forever. I'm committing right now that I will never do this again. The email that's like, send me 4 or 5 times that work for you. I'm like, no shit, here we go. Well, no, I've got this time and this time and this time. And the response is, none of those work for me. How about this time or this time or this time? Like, well, I just sent you the ones that work for me, so no, those don't work. Like, how about you click on my damn calendar link and pick
Here's
a time?
The calendar link, bro.
The days of send me 4 times that work, please be done with it. It's silly.
It's over, guys.
It's madness.
It's over.
Know the order of things and work the order. You want to take that one?
I think it's all about sequencing, right? There's a book called Your Next 5 Moves that Patrick David, one of our mentors, put out, and it's doing things in the right order. If you're trying to do move 5 when you should be doing move 1, well, that's not going to work out very well. And so it's almost like if we try to, we're just going to be a fintech company and try and go raise some money right at the beginning, but we actually didn't have any experience in the industry. We didn't have anything built out. We had no reputation. We had no sales. Kind of be very, very difficult, especially in today's environment, to do that. If you're not already an established business owner and you're trying to raise, serious venture capital money, like, it's very difficult in today's world. And so everything has to be done with the right sequence. And so, for us, I think about, so one of the things that I wanted to go all in with and do really well was content. But guess what? We had to pay the bills. We had to generate sales. We had to get strategic partners. So we could have made an investment of tens of thousands of dollars to create content, knowing that, well, it might take 1 to 2 or 3 years to really see results from content. It wasn't the right time. We needed to make an investment in our funding partner portal so that our partners could track their clients and feel confident that their clients were going to be taken care of, they were going to be paid on them, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the first investments we made was in that partner portal. Now, would I have loved for us to have, a better office? Would I have loved for us to have more equipment? Would I have loved for us to have more online presence and content? Sure, but it wasn't the right time to do it. It wasn't the right sequence. So you have to do move 1 first, then 2, then 3, then build up to that. If you try to go from 1 to 5, then you're going to be very disappointed. And so that's why I feel like it's the order of things. There's a natural order, and you can't skip the steps.
Absolutely. And you can even break that down to like a daily basis, right? Prioritization is very, very important. And, different mentors teach different concepts. I know Alex Hormozi talks about that a lot, like setting priorities and deciding what deserves your attention and what doesn't. And, for me, I throw everything on a calendar. Even if it's not an appointment at that time, I'll put it down at the bottom of the calendar. And if I put it in Miami Dolphins aqua blue, I know that's got to get done that day. And if it's red, then it's something I probably not today, but I've got to get to it this week, and I'll just keep dragging it. So it's a matter of getting your priorities right. So improve your team to improve your organization. And that same goes with your business, same goes with your family. We're all part of teams. We're all part of organizations. And if you want to improve your life, then improve the life of those that are around you. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
It's really good. I mean, I just think of the New Testament, and like, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, right? You have to build a team. If you don't ever build a team, then you're always going to just be limited to whatever actions you could take. And you go on vacation, you're not going to be making any money because you didn't build a team. And what most people fail to do in building a team is they don't create the culture, they don't have that foundation of values and principles, and then they don't help their team get better. And this is a serious commitment and something that we're constantly striving to make improvements at. And so there should be weekly training, there should be online courses, there should be content, there should be internal training, there should be mentoring. And so if you look at the New Testament, well, what did Jesus do? He spent time with his apostles and disciples, and he trained them up.
And served them.
And he served them. He was a servant leader. Let me wash your feet. Let me show you how this is done, right? Let me do all of the little things and show you how I take care of you is how you should take care of others. And so it's the same thing. If your team is watching you and you don't take great care of a client or a partner or them, then that's going to trickle down. And Jesus did such an amazing job, obviously, that when he left and, died and was resurrected, well, guess what? It became the largest religion in the world, Christianity did, because he had taught his disciples and apostles so well that it spread just from how he taught them.
Amen. Leo, I am a firm believer that fear-based leadership will get you short-term performance, short-term results. But if you can learn to effectively lead with love, that's when you can start to change lives and impact people and get top production out of your team because they know that you have their best interest in mind and you genuinely love and care about them. Work to well done. Excellent work is worthy work. What are your thoughts on that?
So it says, do everything for a bigger purpose and a nobler cause. Innovate, always improve, strive to make products. This is kind of like our relentless focus. One of our values and principles that we have on the wall is relentless. There's a book by Tim Grover, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant's trainer, called Relentless. And it's this never-ending pursuit to create something better. And so as I think about this, number one, in a business sense, I'm thinking about how can we deliver more value and a better experience to our client? What sets you apart from the competition? We were sitting there at an event, was that just last year? Whenever it was, a year or two ago. I think it was last year. Was it Tony? Tony Robbins was speaking.
2 years.
And he brings this guy on stage and he's like, hey, tell me what sets your business apart from the competition. And the gentleman appeared to be a successful financial planner, but he couldn't come up with one reason really or something unique that set them apart from others. And that's what you must do. You must have something that sets yourself apart from the competition. And so as an example for us when it comes to providing the best business finance options for small business owners, well, hey, we have a soft credit check. It's not going to hurt your credit. Your bank doesn't have that. Okay, that's one thing, right? We're going to not only, get you financing options, we're going to guarantee to get you the best options you qualify for and that exist on the marketplace. Your bank can't do that, right? They just have SBA, and if you don't qualify, too bad. We can. We have every option on the marketplace. Boom. Sets us apart. You know what? Not only are we going to do that, but we're going to educate and empower you because no one taught us about credit and money in school and college. That's what our job is. Not only will we get you the financing, we're going to set you up for success, teach you personal credit, business credit, everything you need to succeed. And you know what? Gosh dang it, Ty, we've got to go further. Let's create the best fintech company possible, myfigures.com, where you can manage all your stuff in one place. You can manage your cash flow. You can get automated funding options. You can log into one place instead of 25 to manage your bank accounts, loans, line of credit. Constantly, what can we do? How can we deliver more? How can we have a better customer experience? And if you're not relentlessly pursuing that, I promise you someone else is, and they're going to kick your butt if you don't provide more value.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I'm going to explain this here because about 2 weeks ago, we were closing on our house and we ran into speed bump after speed bump after speed bump, and we finally got it done. But to get it done, we had to do a short-term hard money that all said and done will probably cost me an extra $20,000 to $25,000, and I was already taking a lot more cash than I was comfortable with and feeling a little over leveraged and just very, very stressed and anxious. And I, for the first time in a long time, didn't like my job last week. It was really weird. Like I went home on Friday feeling very down. It was like, this week sucked. Like I didn't like what I was doing. And I was sitting and breaking it down and being like, what on earth is going on? Like I haven't had financial stress like this. I haven't felt like this in a really long time. And I was talking to Marie on, I think it was Monday night. Yeah, it was just a few days ago. I was saying, you know what? I finally, for the first time in a long time, realized that I lost touch with the reason why I'm doing this. Like my motto this year, which I told you, I told the entire team at the end of your party, I said, transcend for the greater good. And I realized that when I was talking to these clients, instead of thinking about the businesses that they were building and the jobs that they were creating and the employees that they were hiring, families that were being impacted, instead of thinking about that, I was so focused on the commission I was going to make from that deal because I was feeling overwhelmed and stressed about my current financial situation. And all of a sudden, the first time in a long time, I didn't like my job. And I realized, you know what, if I can shift that mindset and just get back to the greater good, what am I doing for these people? Who gives a rat's ass if my commission on this deal is 100 or 10,000? I'm going to give my all to this client. I shift that mindset, and guess what? I come home Monday so excited, and I love my job again to the point I couldn't sleep. I text you Tuesday morning. I was here in the office at 6:30 a.m.
You were. That was
because
impressive.
I was so anxious and motivated and excited to get after it again. And it literally is that simple. If you're struggling in sales and you're sitting here focused on your commission and what you're not making and how you're struggling, shift that mindset and think about the client and what they're going to do and what they're going to create and how you're going to help them and their employees and their employees' families. I promise your life will change, and you will change way more lives because of it.
Amen. Amen to that, guys. Serve others. Take the focus off of yourself. Learn to help a lot of people, provide more value than what everyone else does. And not only will you be very happy, but your bank account will be happy, your family will be happy. Deliver more value, and you will win.
Awesome. Well, Leo, I love that episode. I thought that was a lot of fun. And
That was a lot of fun.
You know, I'm excited to get the little clips of this and start to do more research and find like verses and whatnot. But hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, we talked about the 12 principles that you can actually learn from the Bible as an entrepreneur. So any final thoughts there?
Hey, principles and values lead to success. They lead to foundation. And it's like that. It's like, hey, maybe a principle that you want to implement in your life is every time I'm getting stressed and anxious, it's usually because I'm focused on myself. I'm going to have this principle where I'm going to focus on delivering a wonderful solution, the best solution experience to my customer or client and to my team. And if I can do that, success will follow, and I won't even have to worry. Because usually when we're just worrying about ourselves, that's what happens. When we turn it to someone else, then that worry goes away.
Go figure.